Here's your wrestling news for June 26, 2022, and your headlines for today include Ronda Rousey defends women's title after Smackdown goes off the air, Jungle Boy out of action due to injury, Jon Moxley claims people in AEW told him to stop working in New Japan Pro Wrestling, Bray Wyatt's new ring name seemingly revealed by new trademark filing, WWE has another heavy hitter against them as legal troubles continue, video of Christian marking out over Luke Perry resurfaces amid angle with Jungle Boy, and more. We are starting off today with SmackDown as Ronda Rousey will defend her SmackDown Women's title against Natalya at Money in the Bank, a slot previously reserved for Sasha Banks if you believe the reports. Natty and Rousey have been slinging insults right and left during the build to their clash, but after SmackDown on Friday, they actually got the chance to get physical. The fans in-house were treated to a Money in the Bank preview after SmackDown this week. The title match we'll all get to see on July 2nd was Friday's dark match. As you might have already guessed, it did not result in a new SmackDown Women's Champion being crowned. Rousey won the match, reports PW Insider, forcing her friend-turned-enemy to tap to an armbar. Rousey and Natalya were appearing for a second time on Friday night as earlier in the evening, Rousey and Natalya had a war of words. This included Rousey taking a shot at Natalya's enhancement surgeries, among other things. While speaking on Smack Talk, Dutch Mantel talked about the aforementioned segment. He criticized Ronda Rousey for having a personality like a wet mop. You know Ronda, she didn't come up with that. She has a personality like a wet mop. I'm confused. When she comes to the ring, she's smiling, and then she gets in the ring and she tries to be serious. I don't know why they don't just let her. She's the baddest woman on the planet. Why don't you do that character all the way to the ring? Natalya will get another chance to dethrone Rousey a week from today at Money in the Bank. Whoever wins, there's a chance 2022's Miss Money in the Bank will have already been crowned, depending on the match order. That means the winner will need to keep their head on a swivel as soon as that bell rings. Jungle Boy is currently one of the mainstays on AEW television, whose stock only continues to rise with the passage of time. Unfortunately, he is out of action due to injury as well. It's been a rough few months for AEW. This is due to the fact that several of their top stars, such as CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, and Adam Cole, have all been injured and are out of action. Jungle Boy was attacked by Christian Cage on AEW television last week. According to the Wrestling Observer's Daily Update, it was said that we can now add Jungle Boy to the lengthy injury list for AEW. We will have to wait and see when Jungle Boy will be making his return to AEW television. He will carry on his feud with Christian Cage as well. AEW has undergone a lot of changes over the past 3 years, especially when it comes to working with other pro wrestling promotions. They can definitely improve on other key aspects as well. New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW started a working partnership last year. However, before that, the two companies were not on talking terms whatsoever. Around that time, Jon Moxley used to compete in NJPW as well. While speaking on the Sessions podcast, Jon Moxley claimed that many people at AEW told him to stop working in NJPW while the two companies were not working together. There were plenty of people that told me to stop working for New Japan. They did not understand it. They were like, you should stop going there. I knew that I was like the last linchpin, the last domino. If I fell, then there would be no communication ever. There were so many people on both sides that were agreeing with me. It just didn't open the communication. I think like when that Harold guy got fired from New Japan, I think that kind of opened it up a little bit. Moxley also compared the Forbidden Door event to a DC Comics and Marvel crossover. We'll have to see whether Moxley will become the interim AEW World Champion at the event or not. Yet another sign that Wyndham Rotunda, better known as Bray Wyatt, is returning to professional wrestling has emerged, this time in the form of a trademark filing. According to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, Rotunda filed the trademark Wyatt 6 on June 21, 2022. The purposes for the trademark cites entertainment services, mainly wrestling exhibits and performances by a professional wrestler and entertainer, and merchandise like hats, shirts, sweatshirts, bandanas, hooded sweatshirts. Wyatt was released from his WWE contract on July 31, 2021, after over 12 years with the company. His last match occurred during Night 1 of WrestleMania 37, suffering a defeat at the hands of Randy Orton with assistance from his former ally Alexa Bliss. Reports indicated that he was originally slated to win the match against Orton at WrestleMania, but the finish was changed the same weekend as the event. Since his departure, Rotunda has been working on a horror film project along with special effects artist Jason Baker. He essentially stayed away from the realm of professional wrestling, apart from a few convention signing appearances like WrestleCon during WrestleMania 38 weekend in Dallas, Texas. Speculation surrounding Rotunda returning to the squared circle began when he released a series of tweets days before the WWE Hell in a Cell Premium Live event. 6 days out from the show, Wyatt changed his Twitter name to the aforementioned Wyatt6. This naturally led fans to predict that he would come back in 6 days at an event he made somewhat infamous due to a criticized match against Seth Rollins years prior, Hell in a Cell. Though, as we know now, that ultimately didn't happen, and we are still awaiting the return of Bray Wyatt, or The Fiend, or Wyatt6, or whatever version of the former WWE star crosses back over to pro wrestling. Furthermore, Rotunda changed his profile picture to an image that appears to be a moth flipped upside down with red scribbles covering up its face, the same face it shares with The Fiend. Though he could always appear with All Elite Wrestling or another promotion, Rotunda set a very high asking price to return to wrestling, which led to previous talks with AEW falling apart. Rotunda was reportedly making more than $4 million a year with the combination of a $3 million contract and bonuses/merch sales before his release. Before he was let go by the company, Wyatt was reportedly the third highest earner in WWE, behind Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. WWE recently announced that Chairman and CEO Vincent McMahon was stepping down from his duties as CEO and Chairman of the board. It came during an investigation into claims that he paid $3 million to a departing employee with whom he allegedly had an affair. A former Louisiana Attorney General's law firm has now announced an investigation into WWE. Charles C. Fody Jr. Esquire, a former Attorney General of Louisiana and a partner at Conswick & Fody LLC, or KSF, recently announced that KSF has launched an investigation into World Wrestling Entertainment Inc. The board had also discovered numerous older non-disclosure agreements with former WWE employees that involved the same claims since the investigation started in April. In a public address about the matter, they made things very clear. World Wrestling Entertainment investigation initiated by former Louisiana Attorney General Conswick & Fody LLC investigates the officers and directors of World Wrestling Entertainment Inc. KSF's inquiry is centered on determining if WWE's officers and/or directors violated state or federal laws or their fiduciary obligations to the company's shareholders. One of the top boutique securities litigation firms in the U.S. is KSF, whose partners include former Louisiana Attorney General Charles C. Fody Jr. In an effort to recover investment losses brought on by corporate fraud and wrongdoing by publicly traded firms, KSF works with a wide range of clients, including public institutional investors, hedge funds, money managers, and retail investors. KSF has offices in Louisiana, New Jersey, California, and New York. We're ending today's news with AEW. Christian signed with AEW to outwork everyone, but ended up working everyone with his recent actions. Captain Charisma turned on Jungle Boy after Jurassic Express lost the tag titles to the Young Bucks last week on Dynamite. Then Cage took things to a new level. Christian explained his actions on this week's Dynamite. He said Jungle Boy used to look up to him as a father figure. The former Impact World Champion even dragged Jungle Boy's late father, Luke Perry, into the feud. Amid the heated feud, fans took it upon themselves to find a connection between Perry and Christian, and they succeeded, as an old clip of Christian marking out over the late actor recently resurfaced on Twitter. The clip in question is from an episode of The Edge and Christian Show, which used to air on the WWE Network when Christian was still part of the promotion. Edge and Christian were joined by Luke Perry on said episode. This isn't the first time a promotion has incorporated real-life relations into a storyline. WWE has been doing that for years. We'll have to wait and see where the feud heads next. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.